Hey people, Love Jones here. I was fixing something actually, the lamp, and I was like, "Holy, Dip! I got to make this cornbread." My grandmother, it was a favorite recipe she would make me anytime I was feeling, melancholy or whatever. And I was like, I'm not melancholy, but I'm reflecting because I'm working on this project, my style of life, and this project is projecting some really interesting stuff for me, my journey in my life. There are four, not four, I would say more than that, but there's several F's in my life that remain consistent, that describe me. I am flawed. I am fancy. I am fabulous. I am forgiving. And I am found. And I say found because I am fortunate enough to be one of those people who found my calling and know what I do best. And I do it better than anyone else. Me. Do me better than anyone else. And Oprah reminded me and several people of that. I can do me better than anyone else. And I love that. And the last F, it's kind of like a duality word. And I say it a lot when people challenge my own greatness. I say, fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. Fuck that. You know what I mean? Because it's like one of those things people love to tell you what you can't do. So anyway, um, I watched my friend Nathan Hillwin's video about the Oscars, and he was talking about this cover of the Daily News that they said something about Chris Rock doing a bad job at the Oscars. Chris Rock, his job was not easy. He needed to create balance. Some of the stuff made me feel uncomfortable, and some of the stuff I thought was unnecessary. However, great art is when you are uncomfortable. I always say that. So go ahead, Chris Rock. I've never thought Chris Rock was funny. I think Chris Rock is white people funny. Yeah, he's for the pilgrims. I think, yeah. Kevin Hart, I don't think is funny, but who am I? That's just my opinion. It's not saying that they're not great artists. It's just that it's not my kind of thing. Speaking of artists and my F's, Malcolm Harris is a friend of mine, and he was so great. I mean, I've always loved Malcolm for several reasons, but Malcolm bought me my first piece of art by a artist that I cherish, and thanks to my auntie Jelani, I'm going to meet him, and he's going to be part of my Style of Life project, hopefully. His name is Leroy Campbell. He is a black man who does some of the most beautiful art. He lived in Brooklyn. He went to Pratt Institute, and it was the first time an artist's work spoke to me. And Malcolm, one Christmas, I came home and he called me. He said, "I got a gift for you," and he brought it by, and it was a piece by Leroy Campbell called "Family Tune," because Malcolm knew how important it was. My family was to me, and it was of three women sitting between each other's legs, greasing each other's scalps, and they're about to do each other's hair in the kitchen. Because we would always talk about black people have every conversation in the kitchen. You get cussed out in the kitchen. You get your ass whipped in the kitchen. You do your homework in the kitchen. You tell all the secrets in the kitchen. Your mother checks your father in the kitchen. Everything is done in the kitchen. The kitchen is like the office. Yeah, it's interesting. So, and funny enough, I have my lineage. This is my lineage. These are the hot combs from my family. So, this is my great grandmother's hot comb right here. This belonged to her daughter. This is her daughter's, my aunts and my grandmothers. And this was my mother and her sisters and my nieces, everybody's hot combs here. So the really wonderful thing about those hot combs, they remind me of my formation, my formation and my foundation and my solid grasp on who I am, because they are resilient and they've been with me. These hot combs are resilient. They've been with me for years. I take them everywhere I go, whenever I move around the country or what have you. And I it just makes me happy to know that there's something in my life that can remind me that what I am doing, I'm going to be okay. So I just wanted to just share that a little bit with you. Why I just got back from running, and I needed a break. And then I decided to make my grandmother's cornbread, which I'm gonna share the recipe with you guys. And I urge you guys to get you a skillet. I'm gonna tell you how you can start your skillet and season it and make the cornbread. You can make it on top of the stove, or you can make it in the stove. And then, sit down with somebody and kick it with some coffee or some tea and some cornbread and get some honey. But honey, if you're gonna get some honey, don't get any honey from China, because I don't know what's in that honey. But yeah. Um, and there you have it. And then yeah. So, and speaking of the cornbread and inviting people over, I'll just end in this. Excuse me. My spirit was also telling me to reach out to someone who was a part of my life for so many years, and I haven't talked to them in like almost 8 years. And my spirit was like, you need to just reach out, and I don't know why. So, I did. I reached out, because, and I had to get rid of them and get rid of them out of my system, because, and they got rid of me too, which for whatever reason, but I needed to not contact them because they were toxic. And it's not like they did anything to me specifically. I think that's just who they were as a person. And sometimes when you have a strong personality and you know who you are and where you're going, and that person either wants your life or they don't want you to be so vibrant in color. They just don't want you to be great. You have to get rid of them. And I did. And what's interesting, I had to forgive myself because they didn't do anything to me. I said yes. I said all the capital yeses to their bullshit. And I got to a place and I needed to reach out, and I reached out, and what happened? Voicemail. Major gay face. I got the voicemail and I said, did they just send me? And I cracked up because at least they're consistent. Voicemail. So I leave you with, I'm going to do this recipe, and anyone who tries to convince you that you're smaller than you are and that you should not be as bright as you are, tell them, fuck that. And then give them major gay face.